Right, now this will tell us. And that's pretty conclusive. Still going. Close. I think he got it down.
How strong is he?
Welcome back to another edition of the Pick and Go podcast, your one-stop shop for all things rugby union, and in particular, Super Rugby. And once again, I'm joined in studio. Well, once again, I don't know if we could say that. He wasn't here last week, but he's back again this week anyway. Pity Weepu. Pity, welcome back in, bro. Thanks for coming along.
Was busy, mate. Was busy.
What were you doing?
Was in Auckland at a reunion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What sort of reunion?
Just a rugby one.
Yeah, what was it about?
Rugby?
Yeah.
Catch-ups?
Okay.
No, it was about the 2011-2015 catch-up.
Oh.
Rugby World Cup squads.
And how many were there?
Oh, Jesus. Quite a bit, actually. I think we might have had 10 that weren't able to come along from the two squads.
It must have been a big room that you had for this reunion.
Yeah, we actually had the reunion at the All Blacks Experience. Carmo was kindly enough to host it for us, and which was a pretty good couple of days, actually.
Nice. Well, let's head up north to a former All Black, Steve Devine. I don't know if Steve was invited. Was Steve invited? Hey?
Never. I never get invited to stuff like that, mate. Mostly because I wasn't with either of those teams.
No.
That was probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, it may have had something to do with it. Yeah.
And then the other thing is there's a bit of a past history, mate, that maybe I haven't been as well behaved at some of these functions as other people.
I'm pretty sure you're not the only one, Stevie.
Yeah, I know. But I couldn't have been any worse than Woodcock and Hall, right?
You're not far off.
Yeah.
Can we go into that?
Oh, it was just good to see that.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, right. It's a great segue. Let's go to someone who is always on a very, very bad performance when it comes to functions. Our good friend Ben Searle of Surly Talk Sports.
Yeah, unfortunately wasn't invited to that one either, but yeah, I didn't play anywhere near that level. But yeah, I do go well at a function. You best believe I'd be right there with Steve Devine, that's for sure.
Well,
Actually, mate, I missed you at the last TAB function at the Kiwi.
Yes, I've got the video that shows that you really did miss me, you and Paulie. I tell you what, Paulie goes all right at a function too, by the looks of that video.
Well, it must have been late in the evening. It was a long day working there, to be fair. So.
They should never serve rum at lunchtime.
Right, let's move on, shall we?
Yeah.
Why don't we continue our selection of the Pick and Go first All Black squad of the season. Now, we've gone through the back line. We've gone through the loose forwards. So now it's down to the tight five for us to all come to some sort of consensus as to who we're going to have in the tight five for the Pick and Go All Black squad of the first of the season. Why don't we start with you, Steve? And if we're looking at the locks, is it a clear-cut sort of selection there for you for the two locks, or is there a wee bit of a competition in the 4 and the 5?
Well, you know me, mate. I just like to throw the spanner amongst everyone from time to time. So I like Vi. I think he's pretty much standout performer right now, Super Rugby, scoring tries and running around. And I'm going to throw in Brodie Retallick. He's been playing up in Japan with Rennie, Dave Rennie, and I just think they've heard a whisper that there might be some talking about him coming back. So let's see how that unfolds.
Well, right, yeah, Surly. Are you also going, is Tupou Va'ai the first lock that you write down when you think of the first All Black squad of the season? And if so, then are you thinking along the same lines as Steve Devine, a Brodie Retallick returning?
Tupou Va'ai is the first name I write down, and I have heard similar whispers about Brodie Retallick. So that'll be an interesting one to monitor. I think Josh Lord's been really good this year. I think Sam Derry's been exceptional as well. And then, of course, our current skipper, is a lock too in Scott Barrett. So he hasn't played any footy this year, but yeah, it's a tough decision. I'll probably go with the Chiefs combination on form at the moment.
Pity, are you happy with what those two boys have come up with there? Or you happy to throw someone else's name into the barrel?
No, I like the names that Surly's actually talked about. Derry being one of them in Lord. Definitely Tupu Vai. I reckon he's hands up above everyone at the moment in terms of in the locking department. But I was leaning more on with Lord.
Josh Lord. Well, we had a wee bit of fresh young legs.
Yeah. Petty was Guzzler at the reunion.
No, he wasn't, but he sent in a video.
See, he's training. There you go.
Well,
that's proof.
Who's Guzzler? Is that his name, Guzzler?
Yeah.
Why do we call him Guzzler, Steve?
What do you reckon?
Because he did do one in the video.
Is that right?
He did.
What, did they play it on the big screen or?
Yeah, they just played it in our little meeting room that we had, and the boys that couldn't make it sent the video in, and Guzzler's true to form, pretty much sent one.
Just before a big game?
No, they had the buy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, that's good to hear.
You put him in just off that, right?
Yeah, that's convinced me when we're going with Tupou Vai and Brodie Retallick. Yeah, no, I like that. That's great. They're our locks for our first test of the season. So now we get to the front row, where it's the foundation, really. It's where everything starts from. So where are we going with our props, Steve?
Oh, this is harsh that you come to me first. I still don't know the difference between a tight head and a loose head prop. So yeah, let's make sure I go first. I've got on my little list. Can we start with hookers or props?
Well, start with hooker. Yeah, go hooker then, because I just thought you knew props because you were very, very close to them when you were feeding the scrum.
Wait, what was it? I still don't understand how. I was like, guys, can we just not push? Like, how hard is it just to push? Anyway, apparently there's a fair bit to a scrum. I'm Cody Taylor, but I think on Super Rugby form so far this year, Amua, scoring tries. He looks big and strong. So yeah, listen, we also have Semisoni from the Chiefs. I mean, any of those three, I'm pretty comfortable with.
Yeah. Surly, do you have the three same names on your sheet, and do you have them in the same order, or are you slightly different?
I have the same three names. I think you go Cody Taylor first test just for his leadership, right? And he has been in good form when he's been playing for the Crusaders, so you have him in here. I've loved what Taukiaho has done, and Almoa, both of them great power options off the bench. So I think you start with Cody. Then you had one of the other two to bring some impact in that last kind of 30 minutes. But geez, we've got some good hookers at the moment. Both bells are going well as well. So there's good depth in that position in the country.
You?
I was leaning more around, same as Silly, around
Cody Taylor to start, and then having a bit of impact off the bench.
A Suffle?
Either.
Mm.
So we'll go with Cody to start.
Who have you got?
Yeah, I was going to go with Cody as well, with either O'More. Why?
Oh, no.
Who else did you think we were going to have?
I don't know. You thought you might have tried to change it up a little bit?
No, well, I just think it's fairly, although we do have quite a bit of depth in the front row, I think it's fairly straightforward in terms of who we should have to start the season. And Cody Taylor, having played his, 150th game for the Crusaders a week or two ago, I think just that sort of experience, it goes a long, long way. So, yeah, I'm happy to have Cody Taylor starting in the number 2 jersey. We'll go to Surly first now for the props. Surly, who are you? Just give us both of your props.
One of the great diversions there from Steve Devine. I'm a huge Tyrell Lomax fan, but obviously he hasn't been playing a lot of footy. So I think on form, I'll be going Xavier Numia and Fletcher Newell. Those have been the two names that have stood out to me so far in the propping department.
Ready?
Interesting. I just would have thought, I was going to say Xavier. I just think he's just a different dynamic to most of the props that we've got. He's good on his feet, pretty skillful as well with his catch and pass. But yeah, I'd go with Xavier, and yeah, I was going to go with Newell too.
Fletcher Newell.
Yeah. Well, obviously Tyrell's out with a bit of injury at the moment, so.
What's the word in Wainui?
I think he's got gout.
No, not sure. Not sure. I'm not asking how you are. Asking how Tyrell.
No, he's just got an injury at the moment. Don't even know what the recovery time is for it at the moment. So yeah.
Gee, so is it as easy as that for you as well, Steve, or have you got someone else in mind?
I've got Tossie in there. I think he's been playing great footy. So again, not sure what side of the scrum he's on, but he's playing pretty good footy.
It would be him or Newell, right?
I go Tossie. Listen. Wellington deserved on form right now to have a few more players than the rest of the competition. So Tossie and Numia for me.
Question: would you guys now change your 10 off last week?
After the result of last week's Hurricanes?
Obviously, I saw the social clips, and a lot of people were Ruben Love weighted. Does anything change now?
I had him in mind to come in off the bench. So we might have to extend this selection to include the bench next week as well, just so we get an overall view of just those players who I guess, ready to jump into the starting lineup if needed. But off last week, Ruben Love certainly did play a very, very good game. And I did like his battle, not with Bodie, but with Zahn Sullivan. They seem to be quite chatty with one another, I guess you could say. We'll get to the a bit of a review of last week's game. So if we lock down the front row, we've got Cody Taylor-Hooker, we've got Xavier Numia one side of the scrum, and then, look, I think...
Well, you've got the decider.
Yeah, so I think we'll go Fletcher Newell on the other side. Look,
Can I change now?
What are you going to do?
I'll go with...
What, Tossie?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
No, that's because he's going to go to Hurricanes training this week, and Tossie's a monster, and he doesn't want to get... He knows now that these go on social media, and he's terrified. He just
I
said,
thought you were going to say...
Right? Not bloody...
I thought you were going to say he's going to go to Hurricanes training and Tossie.
Oh, gee.
So we might have to go to the social media for this one.
What, get them to make the decision for us?
On the Tidehead, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll leave it up to... Yeah, we'll leave it up to pick and go viewers.
Dangerous.
It's out of those two. Who are you going to have, Fletcher Newell or Tossie?
Olo Brown.
So we've got Xavier Numia on one side of the scrum. We just want you guys to help us out. We'll put it up as well. Are you going to vote for Fletcher Newell or Tossie to be the other prop for our All Black team to start the season? Sweet. All righty. Let's have a look at last week's games. And we started off with a very low-scoring match. There was a yellow card, some may say controversial in this match, with the Highlanders going down narrowly to the Brumbies. But if you look back at this match, Surly, what do you take out of it? I mean, the Brumbies coming over and picking up a win in New Zealand is big, first of all, for them.
Yeah, it is, especially for their playoff picture, right? We've said if they can host a semi-final or one of those type of games, then they're going to be really hard to beat. They're performing well against the Kiwi side, so that'll be massive for their confidence too. I thought this first half was a really tough watch. I think the Brumbies made it the type of encounter that they wanted to, very set-piece driven, a bit less razzle-dazzle under the roof. The cards... I thought the Bell one was very harsh. Like, by the letter of the law, it's a card, but if you've played the game, you know how short of amount of time he has to make a decision there and how accidental something like that was. He almost got headbutted rather than anything. So,
Mate, it should have been the other way. It was a straight headbutt.
yeah. So, look, a little bit frustrating there. I'm sure Highlanders fans felt a little bit hard done by. At the same time, I don't know if they deserve to 100% win that game. So, yeah, it was one for the purists for me, and I think the controversy made it more of a talking point than it would have been this week if that moment hadn't have happened in this game.
Steve, the onus at the moment is on the tackler to make sure he's low enough. But when you look at that actual tackle, it did seem like he was on the wrong end of the yellow card.
Well, it was a straight, blatant headbutt. Before contact, the player drops his head to almost protect himself, and yeah, that's not a yellow card. You know, that's yes, there was head contact, but there was mitigating circumstances that made it impossible for there not to be head contact. Yeah, that was very harsh for me.
Yellow card for you, Pity?
To be honest, I didn't watch much of this game, but I did see the highlights of that part there.
Mm-hmm.
I think they need to look at this properly. Like, it's like you're expecting the defender to make a last minute dip to make a lower tackle when guys are actually doing the high trail Cassini, head down, burrowing in. But like, as a defender, the only option you got is to try and grass cut someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you get that wrong, it's allowing the attack to continue what they're doing. Go back to how everything used to be played. Yeah, there should be a concern around head collision and things like that. I totally agree. But I think this whole tackle height thing's getting a bit ridiculous. I think there should be a bit more common sense around it.
Amen.
Oh, okay. And it was a critical point in the game as well. The Highlanders were leading 10-7 at that stage. 3 minutes later, after the yellow card, the Brumbies go in and score a try. And in the end, it was the winning of the game. So, yeah, it was a big part of that game and of the result. Next up, there was no real, I guess, decision about how the next game was going to go. The Chiefs were very, very big. I think they were 30.5-point favourites last week against Moana Pasifika, and that was nowhere near big enough either. We had a number of doubles in that game. Tyrone Thompson, Quinn Tupaia scored a double. Did Damian McKenzie score a double? I think he scored a double. And there was someone else. Oh, Kyron Tamoifilau. In fact, there was one punter who put a $50 same-game multi on. I think he had Quinn Tupaia 2 tries, Kyron Tamoifilau 2 tries, Tyrone Thompson 2 tries, and Damian McKenzie 1 try. And he got back just a tick over $16,500 for that same game multi. And he's not wearing the Moneymaker shirt today, so I'm guessing that Steve didn't put that same game multi on, but the Chiefs were just way too good, Steve.
Yeah, the Chiefs were too good and Moana were too bad. And that's I think, how it's rolled out this season. Chiefs just too much class across the field and, size and speed and couldn't keep up, unfortunately. But yeah, I also feel there's probably going to be a few more of those skylines as the season drags into the second half of the comp. Moana really struggling with all sorts of parts of their game.
Surly, Chiefs, your boys were very, very clinical. And look, although they did let in a couple of tries in the second half, the result was never in doubt, and it was more about them just keeping shape.
Yeah, I think this is what we expected going into the game, and so it was good to see them execute that for sure. It was good to see D-Mac back out there running the cutter really well, Quinn Tupaia continuing his insane form this year. I think Coombs Fabling has been a bit of a quiet success story as well, right? Like, how many people would have had him as the starting fullback heading into the season? Yes, there's been injuries there, but his form's been really good, and it's good to see Kyron Tamoifilau kind of live up to that height that he came into the year with. It was a big move to go from Moana to the Chiefs, and it didn't look like it had worked out for him earlier on this season, but he's put together a couple nice little back-to-back performances now, and he's such an attacking asset to have in your squad. So, yeah, the Chiefs, of course, all eyes are on this weekend, but a good win and a good confidence booster, sure.
Did he pick the right franchise to go to? I mean, if you look at the Chiefs, they have a stacked 3/4 line. They have any number of players that they can put in either the 15, the 14, or the 11 jerseys. So was it always going to be tough for him to break through and grab a starting spot early?
Yeah, it was, but it's a great team to have a starting spot in. When you look at the caliber of players around them, right? It's a very stacked 15 that you're playing alongside. So yes, of course, Sean Stevenson, so it was a bit of a like-for-like replacement there in terms of, they were looking for an outside back with X Factor. But yeah, it was an interesting one. There was probably other franchises that he would have gone straight into the starting 15 in for sure, and he's had to earn it, but playing some good footy now, got his opportunity through injury, and it'll be hard to push him out.
I think he's now started over Leroy Carter over the last couple of weeks.
Were you surprised Leroy Carter got caught by Pellegrini?
Yeah, the last couple of weeks I've been surprised with his lack of speed. Maybe those few weeks at centre has taken its toll on him, but I was a bit surprised with his lack of pace.
Big ups to Pellegrini for chasing him down. I thought that he was off and gone, and scoring a try. That was huge. If you have a look at Cortez Ratima, I mean, he's playing behind, well, at least on the weekend, he played behind a pack that was dominant, and so I guess that does make it slightly easier for the halfback, but have you been impressed with his play so far?
Yeah, I think not just him, but I think there's great competition across the board with halfbacks in the competition. But you've got a pack that's dominant, and you're pretty much just getting there, clearing the ball, allowing your backs to fire. Makes things a lot easier for you when that's happening. You get good quality ball, set piece. When you get to the breakdown, the ball's ready to go. You're not having to dig for the ball. And then you've got time and space to actually have a look around the corner and play your running game, use your running game to full effect. But I think more recently, a lot of these halfbacks are running good lines too, so they're backing up quite a bit on the inside, whereas when I was playing, I was doing the old school massive arc, just chase the
around
ball.
around the back.
Around the back. But now a lot of them are cutting corners up the old fat man's track, and it's they're using that line there to either get a second touch or they're getting to the breakdown a lot faster and being able to get rid of the ball. So there's no opportunities for the defence to sort of set. So I've been pretty impressed with Cortez, but not only just him. I think across the whole Super Rugby competition, a lot of these halfbacks have been putting up their hand.
Look, as you say, Pellegrini, I thought, never gave up, and that was shown by that chase down tackle of Leroy Carter. I thought Miracle Failangi had another massive game for Moana Pasifika, but this really does look like a long season for Moana, Surly, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Just the depth isn't there, and there's a lot of guys in this squad that are NPC players or even fringe NPC players that are getting an opportunity, and I think it just shows the step up, right? This competition's pretty relentless as well, and Steve mentioned that a few more of these scores might be on the way. Like, it doesn't get any easier the longer the season drags on. These top teams are really going to start hitting their straps, and yeah, I think it could get a little bit ugly. At the same time, it's just so sad because last year they were the success story of the competition, I reckon, in my opinion, or one of the feel-good stories. So, yeah, is that the Artie effect? Is it a combination of a lot of things? They lost a lot of players, and it seems they haven't been able to replace them, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's a combination. Definitely, there's a little bit of Artie effect there. But as you say, they lost a whole heap of players. Kyron Tamoifile, of course, that's you take that sort of, I guess, foundation out of the team, and it's really, really hard to pick up. So hopefully they can start to build off this for next season and maybe attract another player or two. Otherwise, it could be more of the same for them next season.
There won't be a next season.
What, you saying they're gone now? Wow.
There won't be. This will be their last season.
Wow.
I think I understand why you don't get invited to these things, Steve.
I tell you what, you said having rum at lunchtime was bad. Rum at 10 a.m. is even worse, Steve.
Not yet, boys, not yet, but soon.
Right, let's head across to Fiji, where the Drua got home in a very, very tight one against the Force. And I have to mention it, last week on the Pick and Go, Steve's bet was a draw between the Drua and the Force at $21. And
Curly Beale.
if Kirtley had some kicking boots on, he ties it up late with a conversion, and who knows what happens from there. So I laugh when Steve mentioned it last week, to be fair, but I'll give him his due. He was not that far away. That was very, very close.
And mate, the TAB would have been paying out more than 16 grand to the guy who picked all the tries. I can assure you of that.
But in terms of the game, once again, Fiji return home and they grow another leg. They really do enjoy the home comforts, the crowd behind them, the humidity, a bit of sort of, I guess, rain underfoot. But if you look at the game, boy, that try that they scored from inside their own 22 were just sensational, Steve.
Yeah, listen, they're the entertainers, right? They love doing what they do, and it's just such a shame they only manage to pull it off every second week at home. But they're growing on their day. They've just, I don't know what it is. They just need to sort out their travel week and get a little bit more competitive for their away games because it's probably the only thing that costs them, right? If they can win all their home games, you're going to be there or thereabouts. So. Yeah, they're an entertaining team. It's great footy to watch. Love the Fijians.
Pity. Fijians at home, well, they're bloody tough to play in Fiji, and they certainly love playing at low toka.
And in the rain.
In the rain.
I think they're probably not used to bloody running around in dry tracks, so they throw the ball around a bit more. But when it's, at home, it's wet, the boys are... I feel like that's their bread and butter. Throwing the ball around, people working harder off the ball to be another option, following up with support. But they are definitely, if they can, like Stevie said, if they can sort out their travel and go play away from home and actually get good wins, like we've seen in the past, I feel like there'll be a team that everyone will be keeping a close eye on. But I mean, in conditions like that, you wouldn't expect anyone to throw it around apart from the Fijian team, because that's pretty much what they love doing and being shown a bit of flair. But I think they, those tries that they scored in that first half were awesome. In terms of where they, like you said, the long distance one, actually chancing their arm to actually pull it off, whereas most teams would probably try and get it and then play the percentages, play down the other end of the field and put a bit more pressure on the opposition. But these boys chance the arm, and when it does work out for them, man, everyone's definitely entertained.
Surely they seem to be a lot more cohesive when the conditions are like that. Their passes stick when you would think the passes wouldn't stick as much when they're playing with a bit of rain. It's slippery underfoot. But I guess because they probably play a lot of their rugby under those sorts of conditions, they feel very, very much at home when they get those sorts of things. So maybe they need to hope for a bit of rain when they travel to New Zealand or Australia so they can maybe replicate those conditions that they get back in Fiji.
Yeah, it's bizarre, eh? When you think Fijian rugby, you think running rugby, and you would think that would equate to sunshine and throwing the ball around, but it just shows how good their skill set is. But yeah, they're so tough to beat over there. I actually thought the Force stayed in the fight really well, and there were big momentum shifts. I think that yellow card was probably the final straw for them, but yeah, I'll be interested to get Steve's thoughts around Force Crusaders this weekend. There's some good odds up for grabs there, and I reckon that could be a game that goes down to the wire. So I'm sure we'll touch on that shortly, but I don't mind the Force in that one.
Right, let's stick with last weekend, and we'll go to Steve because the Hurricanes scored 42 points and the Blues scored 19. Steve, this was one of the first big tests for the Hurricanes, and they passed with flying colours.
Yeah, they're a class outfit. And that's why a couple of weeks ago I tipped them to win the comp at $3.50. It's looking pretty good money now. Just too good. Just too good. Blues sort of got themselves back in the fight, and the Hurricanes are just a different beast. You give them advantage line ball, you give them a quick ruck ball, and you're not going to beat them this year. They're just too clinical, and they opened the game up. The Blues, would have tried their hardest to keep it tight and keep it structured, but I really feel the difference this year with the Hurricanes is they don't have those lapses in poor play. They're more of an 80-minute team, and what they're doing very, very, very well. So for me, certainly still the favourites to win the match. I was really hopeful the Blues would put in a performance on the back of some heartbreaking news around Cam Surfur and what they've done as a team, and I was really, really hoping for a win, but just not to be, unfortunately.
Surly, the Blues, they weren't at full strength, so do we factor that into this result as well?
I think you have to, in terms of the Blues forward pack in particular, not having Dalton and Hoskins and those guys. It certainly would have made things a little bit different. I thought the Hurricanes were so impressive, though. Warner Dern's how can we find a loophole to get him into the All Blacks? He was massive at set-piece time. He disrupted so much of the Blues ball. And then Cam Roigard is on a completely another planet. And that Roigard-Love-Barrett combination is working really nicely. I just love watching the Canes play. To me, they play how rugby's supposed to be played, right? They're physical through the middle, and they've got a skillful forward pack. They're great on transition attack as well. And then they just carve you up on the edges. They're just so nice to watch at the moment. And their skill set across the whole team is impressive. And they don't give away easy points either. The Blues scored a couple tries that I'm sure the Canes probably weren't too happy with, but it was the result of some good build-up play. But, man, yeah, the Canes are the real deal, and they're just entertaining in all the right ways this year.
Pity they got out to a bit of a lead, and then the Blues sort of bounced back, and then the Canes score a try just before half-time. There have been times when a team comes back against the Canes and then their sort of game plan seems to fall apart, but they are sticking to their game plan very, very strictly. And I guess when you get results like this, it's sort of, you can understand why they are sticking to their game plan.
I think it's the fact that the Blues actually moved the ball a bit more and tried not to stay sort of up the middle of the field, and which allowed them to score those tries on for them, but leading into half time. But I mean, you've got to do that consistently. I think the way that the Canes are playing is they're doing the hard job up front, but then it's like they're actually earning the right to play footy out on those edges by going up the middle, trying to bring in the defence. And then the best part is players are actually under a lot of pressure, and they're throwing balls, wide passes. These are backs too, throwing wide passes on a dime to the players on the edges, which is freeing them up to get a lot of meters up the field. And it's not easy for that to happen, and it takes a bit of time. And I'm pretty sure that's something that they've been consistently working on, is catch and pass, but not just catch and tip on. It's catch and throw a long ball out to the wingers or to people out on those edges, and then making up those inroads up the edge, and then shifting it again to the other side. So, they're playing some entertaining footy, and usually I don't go watch footy at the stadium, but since the kids keep asking, I'm like, oh, I'm not the type to go to the stadium. Dad's usually swearing and don't want anyone to see me swearing, so I usually stay at home and watch it. But it's definitely growing on a lot of people around here, the style of footy that they're playing. And yeah, I'll be a bit like Steve, and like everyone else, jump on that bandwagon.
Well,
not that I have off it.
I feel like the experiment of Geordie going to play a year in the UK has really brought back an understanding of a rush defence and how to beat it. And I just really felt the skills that he's brought back, and as they're a different team this year, and maybe the answer is now in letting a few of our players go overseas, play offshore, and come back.
Right.
the skills that have been learnt and the skills that have come back are certainly a massive help to that Hurricanes team. And maybe, maybe that's a question that needs to be asked a bit higher up, because that experiment has definitely worked, and maybe others would as well.
He does look like he's gained a metre of pace. He's really, really strong. And I did see that Surly mentioned about 5 minutes ago that Roigard Love Barrett combination. I think he's trying to push for that to be the pick and go first All Black squad, that the 9, 10, 12 for the season.
13.
Who's 13? Billy. Wow,
Well, Billy was our 13, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. He was.
Yeah.
So,
Billy or Quinn. I think Quinn's playing some good footy. But yeah, Billy's more of an out-and-out centre, isn't he? So.
Final game, and the Crusaders went across the ditch. I didn't come back with a win, though. Reds were just a wee bit too good, Surly.
Yeah, they were. This one was a little bit of a tough watch for me. I think the Crusaders certainly missed Cody Taylor, Will Jordan, and some leadership there. I mean, tough watch not in terms of result. I mean, in terms of the amount of errors and things like that. This game was a little bit too stop-starty. A good bounce back for the Reds after being beaten at home by the Force really convincingly. And, yeah, keeping their finals credentials alive too. But, yeah, an interesting one. I think it was more about the Crusaders missing who they had out more than anything.
I was going to say, tough watch for you. Is it your team now?
No, tough watch in terms of quality. Pleasing watch. Tough watch as a rugby fan in terms of quality of game.
Wow. Soz about that, Chiefs. Looks like he's moved. He's moved
Mate,
on.
I've been leading this campaign, and luckily Steve's come in and backed me up here, and he is also now leading the campaign. We have made our opinions clear on the Crusaders in the past.
Right. Steve, anything for that Reds Crusaders game?
yeah, you lose experience. Sometimes, we've spoken about it at times this year. It's the desperate team that are getting the victory. Sometimes a team is clearly better, but a team turns up more desperate and with a bit more passion and get it done. And that's where the Reds were on the weekend. Crusaders weren't clinical, missing a few big stars that they often rely on, and that's where the win went. So, I mean, looking forward to this weekend. I think we see some of those matchups where there's teams that are really desperate, and that may really impact the scoreline. I think this weekend.
Right. Let's move on to a question for this week, and with it being the 30th anniversary of Super Rugby, I thought I'd ask everyone what their all-time favourite moment was from Super Rugby. So, anything from the last 30 years. Do you want to start, Surly?
Yeah, mine is, speaking of Crusaders, Carlos Spencer.
Say that.
And that iconic moment. I think I was like 11 at the time watching it with my dad. And I was just like, how good is this? And he was loving it, but he was like, don't do that this weekend, son. And I was like, nah, Carlos is my guy. So, yeah, that was right up there in terms of iconic Super Rugby moments for me. It was that or that Christian Cullen try, 96, but I went with Carlos.
Who was Cullen's try against? Waratahs?
Tars, yeah.
Yeah.
But they haven't made a tackle since then.
I do know. And didn't Carlos acknowledge the crowd as well after he kicked the conversion? Just gave them a bit of a wave.
Yeah.
Do you know why he did that? So if you watch the footage, he gives the half finger because someone threw a bottle at him and it almost hit him.
Well,
so he just did a bottle almost hit him on the field. So he just give the old, "How's your father?" And that's the reason he did that. No other.
Is that right? Now I'll give you a tip. There's a bit of history there.
Oh yeah.
Because I went down to support Wellington against Canterbury in a Shield challenge in 1980, 82 or 83. We went down there, and this was at the old Lancaster Park. And before the game, it was packed. We had a big Wellington banner, and me and my mate, we jumped over the fence and ran around the field with this Wellington banner. And when we got round to the terraces, they started chucking cans and bottles at us. Some of them were still full as well. They still had beer in them. And there was security all around the field. And I was standing next to one of them, hiding behind him so I didn't get hit. And he said, bro, can you piss off? Because I'm going to get hit. So we kept going around. So, yeah. It's not the first time it's happened. I didn't realise that this was while the game was going on.
Yeah, in Germany. So he scored the try and he was walking back to do the kick and someone threw a bottle at him.
Oh, wow.
So that's why he gave the finger. And my first time playing down at Lancaster Park, I was walking off at half time and there's kids hanging. You walk up a tunnel, there was kids hanging over, and one kid spat. He must have been like 6, 7, and he just spat down onto the boys. And I looked up in just disgust, and his dad gave him a high five.
And that's what Steve Devine met Paul Moatu for the first time.
Yeah. And that was my introduction to all things Canterbury, and and that's why they shag sheep, I guess.
Flip that.
Fitty, what's your...
Mine's the same, actually, around the
around the sheep.
Christchurch.
Yeah.
I've had the same experience as, yes, where fans have done stupid shit like that, where they've pretty much either spat or thrown stuff at us this is like Stevie, half time, going into the sheds, and you're just copying it, whereas like every other place I've gone to, it's not as bad as that.
Wow. So what's your highlight of Super Rugby? Can we get a positive out of you?
It'll be the first title for the Hurricanes.
For the Canes?
Yeah.
Was it against the Bulls?
No, that was against the Lions, I think.
Lions, that's right, Lions. Yeah. Oh, nice. So what about you, Steve? Did you tell us your highlight?
It's going to be hard for me to go past 2003 Blues title, which was a pretty good year for everyone involved in Blues Town. So yeah, that was pretty special. It had been a few years since that dominant team of the late 90s, but yeah, 2003 was a good time.
I guess my one was the very first game, because it was between the Blues and the Hurricanes back in 1996, and they played it at the Palmerston North Showgrounds, which has got the track around the outside. That is such a Kiwi thing. We'll have the first game of this massive competition in a rugby field that's in the middle of a speedway track. It was brilliant. Alama Yeremia scored the first try. Carlos Spencer and Junior Tanu'u were playing for the Blues, both of them out of the Hurricanes catchment area. Interesting. Anyway, it was great. I was just so happy for the professional rugby.
Doesn't sound like it.
What?
That was on Sky. That game was on Sky last week.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was, yeah. I think it was like 30-odd, 20-odd, something like that. They might have...
Yeah, 38. I think at 38-29 or something like that. It was...
Yeah. Right. Let's get ahead. Let's look ahead to this week. And the teams haven't been named yet, but the boys have got the odds out for all of the games as we speak. And if we go to the first game, the Highlanders up north to take on the Blues. The Blues dominant favourites here. They're $1.18. The Highlanders $4.60. They're 12.5-point favourites, the Blues at home. The total set at 54.5. We'll go straight to Surly for this one. Blues, are they going to be too good for the Highlanders here, Surly?
Yeah, I think they are. I think we expect a bounce back. Highlanders, unfortunately, down a couple troops, but also just down a bit of confidence. And yeah, I think the Blues will look to show that they are still the real deal in this competition. They just played a really good side and came off second best. So yeah, I expect a big performance at home from the Blues.
What about you, Steve? You think the Blues will be too good? Because the Highlanders, they're going to have to start winning some games if they want to make the playoffs at the end of the season.
Yeah, this is the game I was talking about where desperate teams do desperate things, and I just feel Gordy Hunter Trophy on the line. This one's a real dangerous one for me with the Highlanders. They're desperate for a win. The Blues not so much. I know they had a loss last weekend that would have hurt, but desperate teams do desperate things, and I think at the start of the season, the Highlanders would have looked at this one and said, we want to go to Eden Park and we want to put on a performance at the start of the season. So I'm nervous about this one. I'm still on the Blues, but I'm very, very nervous that $4.60. Oh, that's tough.
Very
That's
tough.
tough
He's pumped off.
to
He's
go
pumped
past.
off.
He is. Pity the Blues. They'll be hurting after that loss against the Canes.
Yeah, they will be, but so will the Landers after a close one too, and being a yellow card to decide, their fate pretty much. So, yeah, I'm kind of tipping on the Landers, to be honest.
What, to win or plus the 12.5?
Maybe the 12.5.
Wow. Okay. Next game, Waratahs up against Moana Pasifika. Waratahs $1.11, Moana Pasifika $6. They are 18.5-point favourites, the Waratahs at home. The game total is set at 64.5. 18.5. Is that enough, Steve?
Yeah. I just, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be the Waratahs, right? Who don't turn up for a game like this. They can play good footy, but gee, they can play some woeful rugby as well. I wouldn't be surprised if the Waratahs got rolled in this match, but I've got them down to win, but I think it's going to be a lot tighter than all those points head start for sure.
Shirley, are you a Moana Pasifika man here? Can they cover the 18.5?
Yeah, I think they can cover for sure. I think it'll be closer to a 1 to 12 than an 18.5. So, yeah, I like the cover there. I don't trust the Tars much at all, but I still think they will just be too good and get the win.
Tars or Moana?
I just want Moana to actually fire properly for 80 minutes. And I think that's what we all really want.
Do they have the depth to do that? Do when they start rolling players on, is it just a wee bit too much for them?
Yeah, they definitely don't have the depth. We did talk about it in terms of fringe players, NPC, and having to step up into a competition that's a lot faster, and the reaction time's a lot quicker too. So, but I just really want them to put in a good, solid performance for 40 minutes, regroup, and then make sure that they don't just if they are leading at halftime, I don't want them just to rest on the lead that they got. I want them just to continue playing for another 40 minutes. So it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy, even though the Tars haven't made a tackle since what? Yeah, 03. Did you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So if Moana can break those tackles and make their own tackles, we could be leaning in the right direction.
Right, we've got another top-of-the-table clash. We had one last week between the Hurricanes and the Blues. This week, it's the Chiefs and the Hurricanes. Number 1 and number 2 teams on the table. The Chiefs, favourites at home here at $1.67. In fact, I think they've moved since we've been on air. I think they're $1.70 prior to us starting this podcast. Now into $1.67. The Hurricanes out to $2.15. They're 1.5-point favourites, the Chiefs, and the game total set at 53.5. Surely, can your Chiefs do the business here?
This is going to be a heck of a game. I'm assuming the only thing that's giving them advantage is the home ground advantage. I think that's obviously playing a big favour at the moment, but I'm looking forward to the individual matchups all across the park. It's going to be massive, in particular at 9, 10, 12 from both teams. I'm looking forward to those two going at it, but I'm going to back the Chiefs in to get the result, but I think it's going to go right down to the wire. That either team within 7.5 points, that try-bet option, that's a great shout in this game.
Okay, boring game for Steve, but what do you reckon?
I'm with the Canes.
Oh,
And I love that $2.15. That's got me written all over it.
easy peasy. You going with the boys?
Yeah, of course.
Oh. Soz about that.
You've
Oh, well, hang on a minute. I want to change then.
got to back the boys.
No, if you go for the Chiefs, then they'll win, definitely. You're better off going for the Chiefs and putting all your money on it.
Hey, we haven't had bets yet. Okay, that's
And
coming.
then it's a win-win.
There we go.
Right, let's move on. Brumbies, Fijian Drua. The Brumbies, $1.06 here. The Drua, $8.50. They're 21.5-point favourites, the Brumbies at home, and the game total is set at 57.5. Surely, can the Drua perform away from home? I'm not sure. It'll be a cold game, I would think, in Canberra this weekend. Just conditions that probably won't suit them.
If you don't like travelling, then you don't want to go to Canberra. That's the worst recipe for both. So the Brumbies win.
Even if you do like travelling, you don't want to go to Canberra.
Yeah, I know Jeff Wilson said he didn't mind it because of the golf courses. Something about the draw doesn't scream golf to me, so I think the Brumbies get the result.
There might be a few mates that, bring them a bit of a grog. Maybe they might have a little
Little bit of vinaka.
Little bit of a sesh to maybe later on after the game. But yeah, who really wants to travel to Canberra? We've already talked about this.
Well, you've certainly given us your views on Canberra. Final game of the round, and the Force host the Crusaders before the Crusaders return home to open their brand new stadium. The Force, $3.40 at home. The Crusaders are $1.30. That means that the Force are 8.5-point underdogs in Perth, and the game total set at 59.5. Surely, Crusaders, do they bounce back here? Do they have one eye on opening up the big brand new stadium in a couple of weeks' time, or will they be focused for this one?
Neither of those guys that are injured are travelling, are they? So they're back here. So I think the Force plus 8.5 is a good shout. I think that they could cover that at home. It's tough to come from Fiji and then back it up, but I feel like they're just a team that stays in the fight. And at home, I don't think they'll roll over, that's for sure. So I don't mind the plus 8.5 on the Force. I never thought I'd say that in a game between them and the Crusaders.
Steve, Crusaders?
Yeah, I've got a big question mark next to this one, just because I don't know the team. Will Jordan and the big hitters back, then you're going to be on the Crusaders, but I'm just not sure they got that leadership without those big boys. So I'm torn. I just don't know on that one just yet. I 8.5 points to the Force. That'll probably make me lean that way for sure.
Crusaders, Force, Crusaders?
Doesn't matter.
Well, in terms...
Yes.
Yeah, fair. Look, if I was thinking, I'll be wanting to get a win on the road as a player for the Crusaders. So they'll be wanting to go over there, get the job done. I know they weren't successful last week, but I mean, if they can get the job done there, then they can come home with a bigger smile on their face, leaning into the opening of their new home. But I'm pretty sure if they don't, it's going to be a tough slog for them when they do open up their new home, having to try and perform really well if they couldn't quite get the results. So leaning a little bit towards the Crusaders on this one.
Okay. Alrighty.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Look, Surly had to leave us, but we might as well get to the punting side.
Here we go.
And last week it was up and down. Well, as I said earlier on the podcast, Steve did pick a draw between the Drua and the Force, and he wasn't too far away at $21. So I've got Surly's bets for this week, so I'll go through those first. His best head-to-head, Brumbies. His best point start, Force plus 8.5. His try scorer bet, Callaway and Jorgensen, 2 or more combined, if that is an option. Otherwise, we'll just take Callaway and Jorgensen to score a try each in a same-game multi. And then his winning team and margin bet, either team to win by under 7.5 in the Chiefs-Canes game. So that's it. And we'll put his What does Brumbies bet in as his best bet bundle? Right.
Oh, that $1.06 bet. Wow.
Okay, Moneymaker, you give us your best head-to-head for this weekend.
My best head-to-head, I'm going the Hurricanes at
Hurricanes.
$2.15. I think the Hurricanes competition leaders at $2.15. You won't see that again this year.
Pity, you going Hurricanes as well?
No.
Oh.
I'll stay away from that game.
Oh, okay.
I'll stay away from that game for a reason.
Yeah.
I'll go Landers.
At $4.60 to beat the Blues. Yeah. No. Is that what you're doing?
Yep.
I'll go with the Crusaders to bounce back against the Force over there. So Crusaders at $1.30 to beat the Force. Right. Next one is your best point start or best line, Steve.
I'm going to go Highlanders at 11.5. I think the Blues will win. I think it'll be just like last weekend with the Highlanders and all of their weekends. It'll be a tight encounter. So I think 11.5 at
It's 12.5.
12.5. We've got an extra point, so even better. I think it'll be a tight match, is what I think.
Highlanders plus 12.5. Nice.
I'll go Moana.
What were they? 18.5?
Yeah.
Moana plus 18.5 against the Force. Oh boy. I'm going to go to the Brumbies. And I know 21.5. That's 3 converted tries. It's just surely Fiji can cover that. Just hold on. Yeah, I'm going to go the Drua plus 21.5 to try and keep it close against the Brumbies. Your anytime try scorer now, Steve, prior to the team's been named.
I got last week's with Moa, and I'm going to back it up again this week, people. I've got Max Jorgensen for a double or more.
Nice.
Or more.
Yes.
Ouch. I'm going to go with Kyron for one.
Kyron Tamoifalau, yeah.
With Fee.
Whinianga Nofu. Oh, so a little same game multi.
Yeah.
Kyron to score a try and Fihi to score a try.
Yeah.
Geez, I was going to go Whinianga Nofu as well to score a try. I've got to change now that...
Why don't you just go to your go-to guy?
Just go whoever the top 2 try scorers are in the competition and put your $1 bets on again, Paulie.
Just go to your Force guaranteed.
He's injured.
Oh, unlucky.
Yeah, exactly.
And Will Jordan's not playing either, so he can't.
Yeah, I've got Where do I go? I'll go with Shea Fihaki. He picked up a double last weekend. I'll go Shea Fihaki to score a try against the Force. Your best winning team and margin bet now, Steve?
I'm on, and I really like the look of this. And again, Kane's 13 plus at $5.25.
Wow.
I think they're the real deal, mate. I think they're going to go the distance, and you know they've produced the goods for the last 4 or 5 weeks in a row. So I think they can push it out there, and $5.25 seems like good money to me.
I'll go Blues.
Blues?
Actually, I'll go Landers.
Landers. Good, because I'm going Blues 1 to 12. So you're taking the Landers 1 to 12 at $5.80. I'm taking the Blues 1 to 12 at $2.95.
Roger.
Cool.
Loser, Eddie, you two do an Ood run next week.
I'll just go with the Andy run, thanks.
I can't. I got gout.
Right where Tyrell's getting it from.
Tyrell Lomax does not have gout. He will be back soon. Right, our best bet bundle now, and I've chosen a Surly's bet, the Brumbies, at what? $1.06. So that slots in. $1.06 for Surly. What's your one, Steve?
No, after going so close last week, I thought I'd better keep it up there. So I really like this week. I like Chiefs at halftime into the Canes winning at full time, paying $8.50. I think the Chiefs will start well at home, and I think the Canes can roll over the top of them and roll over the top of them well. So at $8.50, that's a good shout for me.
Wow, so you've taken the Canes to win. You've also taken the Canes to win by 13 or more, and now you've taken Chiefs to lead at halftime, Canes to win.
Yeah.
Good shout.
Wow, this could be a huge weekend for you. You'll have your Moneymaker shirt on next week, or
You bet you will. You bet it, Paulie.
you'll be nude next week.
Or I'll be doing this from underneath a bridge somewhere.
Oh no. What do you go? What's your best bet for us?
I don't know. Actually, I might go with Bell for a double.
Which Bell?
From the hooker, Crusaders.
The Crusaders.
George Bell.
Georgie. I'm going to go to the Crusaders Force game. I'm going to go the Force to lead at halftime, the Crusaders to win. That's paying $6.50. That's it. We've done it. We've got to the end of another podcast. Steve, what are you up to this weekend? You a bit of fishing?
No, the weather's rubbish for fishing. What have I got? I've got a birthday party to attend on Friday at Arvo's, so it'll be a nice cruisy weekend, I think, for me, watching some footy.
Yeah.
Staying away from trouble, Paulie. Staying away from trouble.
Yeah, yep. That's my mantra.
Huh?
Wait, what? What are you up to?
Actually, we've got our 150th rugby celebration, Wellington College, playing against Nelson on Saturday here, and organising a golf day on Thursday, a luncheon on Friday, and then the big match on Saturday.
Sure. I'll check my phone.
Yeah.
Nothing there. So, what, the game's here?
Game is here, so we are hosting Nelson College. This is before our 100th for quadrangular tournament. First sanctioned sort of schoolboy game between us and Nelson way back in the day.
So will you be playing them again this season?
Twice, yes.
Right.
Well,
If
depends
if how it works out, and then win
lose sort of thing in quaddies.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So yeah, it'd be a huge celebration between the two schools and all the old boys from both schools as well.
So the season hasn't started proper yet?
No, not the college sport
one.
Just that we're still in preseason games at the moment.
What sort of old boys you got at Wellington? All Blacks?
Yes, there's been quite a few actually.
Hey.
I'm actually coaching with one of them currently, Nemi Tialata.
Oh, is he a Wellington College boy?
Yep, there's Dane Coles, Lima Sopoanga, Jeff Tauamanga Allen, Reggie Goods. So there's quite a few old boys that went through. And actually last year was actually a special. We had a special moment where one of the grandsons of the players from the originals, they gifted his cap to our school to look after. We've got a bit of a museum
display sort of thing.
Yeah, and we've got two caps from
at the college.
At the college.
Oh, wow.
In our archives. So, but it's on display like a museum, and it's pretty special to go in there. Sometimes we take our rugby players in there just to show them some of the history of not just rugby, but in general the school and all sports, really.
All righty. That's it.
Wait, what are you up to? No, Auckland bound.
No. I've got a birthday to go to on Saturday, a 40th. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Apart from that, I'll be watching a whole heap of sport. Hopefully making a bit of money as well.
Is the 40th one of your kids, Paulie?
Jeez, only if I had them when I was 5. Oh, gee. That's it. We've got to get out of here now before we say anything else. Thank you very much to Steve Devine. Thanks to Ben Searle. Thanks to Piti Wipu. And thanks to you guys for tuning in and watching and or listening. We'll be back again next week with another edition of the Pick and Go.